Hello and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who, The Woman Who Lived. We're starting off this week's review stroke ramble with my thoughts, and I was disappointed a little bit. I thought it was okay. It was quite light-hearted compared with last week's, really. Didn't really do much to hold me for the most part, and it all wrapped up a bit too quickly for me again. I didn't really feel any kind of peril or anything. It was just a bit of a letdown.
You sound really disheartened. It's like, it hurt me on a personal level.
Last week's was nice. I enjoyed
Last week's was
week.
dull.
Dull as well, but this week's was dull. And
This one was, yeah, I agree, it was very.
This one was. I enjoyed last week still for the most part. It had some interest. It had something.
This one with the idea of being immortal, but that could be interesting.
It was
immortal. Yeah, and it wasn't. Last week's was just dull because they somehow made Vikings dull.
It's because they were looking. Well, they weren't looking at Vikings. It was Viking society, which means you don't look at the warriors.
Yeah.
But this week's was just. It didn't do much.
No, it was just. Well, I like Rufus Hound though.
Rufus Hound was good, but he's a very big Doctor Who fan as well.
I liked him. He was fun. He had a personality.
Yeah, he did.
It was nice.
I thought Maisie Williams was all right. It's a weird one because again, I thought the performances were all right.
Actually, about as much personality as last week, which isn't much.
She's playing herself. By and large, though, I do think Maisie Williams is a very talented actress.
Take your word for it. Once in Doctor Who, it's painstakingly average.
Well, to be fair, Doctor Who isn't exactly...
Yeah, but they'll say that's not really her fault. That's probably Doctor Who's fault for being painstakingly average.
Which is a bit unfortunate as well, because the scriptwriter they had for this one, she's done some good stuff in the past.
Doctor Who, or just generally?
Generally, but as well as Doctor Who.
Oh,
she knows the material, because it was a different writer than last week's.
Yeah, I knew that.
But generally, the whole thing of this week's was very... It was the whole contemplation of immortality. It's that whole
Just Doctor Who's going to explore in 45 minutes.
Yeah, but again, it's that difficulty of... You've got a combination of... You've got a plot line you've got to deal with and kind of a theme, which is a bit more of an idea of looking at how's it affecting. The idea of being... The Doctor saves someone, but this one's got lasting consequences.
Which has been done several times before.
It has been done several times.
It's like, I've seen this plot line several times in Doctor Who.
I had a nod to Captain Jack, though, which was quite pleasant.
I could have done a bit of Captain Jack. A bit of personality. In this episode would have been nice. Even Peter Capaldi bored me fucking senseless.
Yeah, the script wasn't really up to scratch.
Was it not?
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah, I think it was there. I mean, there's a lot of...
I mean, we've had talky episodes this season.
Well, it's politicians. It's talking and not really saying anything.
Or repeating the same point.
Yeah, you think you're being smart and clever and deep, and you're really not.
They had some nice ways of wording things, which is very nice and was very nice and poetic. But the trouble is, they kept just rehashing the same thing for the entire thing. I mean, the lion alien thing wasn't really intimidating. Lovely makeup, and it looked very
Reminded
nice.
me of the Khajiit from this Elder Scrolls cat people.
Yeah.
Although they don't breathe fire, which makes them significantly less badass than him.
But unfortunately, the whole thing of that was just kind of, you've introduced it, and it didn't really pay off.
Welcome to modern Doctor Who.
We've had some of that a lot this season, really. Fisher King again, the whole thing of the alien doesn't do anything with it particularly. It all wraps up. It wraps it up in about 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's Doctor Who. We've been over this before.
At the same time, though, this was the first time that we've ever had the situation explained within the last, 10 minutes of what the hell's going on, and then wraps itself up very quickly.
Sorry, someone's setting off fireworks. That's how my... Carry on.
The whole thing of what is the Eye of Hades was explained right at the end and wrapped up incredibly quickly as well. It was a bit annoying, really, because last week's I thought it was interesting. All right, it wasn't brilliant, but I don't know.
I was looking forward to this week because I thought, okay, she's immortal. This could be interesting.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't. Scene. Yeah, that was all. Is that why you're so sound so down?
There's not much to talk about. It let me down.
That's the end. There's nothing there for 45 minutes.
But to be fair, there had nice references in it. I mean, they kept repeating the same point, which means there's very little for us to review on in terms of... they make the point of the difficulties of immortality and living forever and all that. Very understanding.
Yeah.
Difficulty of the Doctor can't travel with someone who's like that because it'd be travelling along with yourself. And he can't do that. But at the same time, it was kind of nice of a Shield stroke me, which I did quite like the idea of she changed her name to Me. Because
it reminded me of the Wii too much. I was like... The me's you get on the Wii.
The idea of the Doctor's having to pay for this, but she desperately wants to travel with the Doctor because she feels it's your responsibility to do this, to fix what you've done. Which we've seen a couple times before, and it was kind of.
It's called fan fiction.
No one's seen it with the idea. It's the idea of you've made me, so why can't? It's very much the sort of Frankenstein thing of
Yeah.
you've made me, why can't you love me?
Mm.
Why can't you take me with you? Not being able to understand that, and the idea of the creator kind of disowning. The Doctor wasn't disowning her though. It was the sense of. It was very much a matter of I know where we've been before. Where has I seen that? Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
Have you seen Interview with a Vampire?
No.
I would suggest that's the analogy I got. The idea of
Give it to me in a nutshell.
the main character, who's not Tom Cruise, I can't remember who plays the part in it though. Tom Cruise is in it. He's the other big character. I can't remember who is the bloody lead, the other one in it.
It's probably not important.
He feasts on a little girl, making her into a vampire to keep her alive so she doesn't die. But then the little girl can't die anymore, and she's stuck at an eternal youth age.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
girl is obviously furious with the man. Eventually, you get to the point of saying she throws a huge tantrum, kind of going, "You can't. You hate what you've made me.
Mm.
You made me this, but you can't stand what I am." And she ends up then finding someone who's willing to become a vampire in order to keep her company, so that the main character doesn't feel the responsibility over her anymore.
Mm.
And it all goes very badly wrong from there. But nevertheless, that's kind of that's actually a very good analogy for what
Yeah,
this
it
was
does
about.
sound right.
I'm amazed my brain went to something that quickly. But yeah, it was a bit like that. I mean, Rufus Hand was good. I liked him.
Yeah, it sound anyway.
Character was nice for it. I thought Maisie Williams did all right.
I don't think she had much to work with, really.
No, it doesn't. But that's the trouble with the script again. It was just repeating the same point over and over for half an hour.
45
I
minutes.
quite like that last scene, though. Not the scene in the TARDIS with Clara, which is quite nice because do get that sense now that the Doctor's realizing he's going to lose Clara, and it seems to
Well,
be.
every time they mention it, I'm like, wow, this foreshadowing is so subtle.
But it's the Doctor's getting ready for it, which is the difference. It's almost as if the Doctor's preparing himself to stop seeing her. It's a very long thing of that. Which you're right, it is very obvious foreshadowing in that sense of something's going to happen. But you get that jealousy as well coming from Ishilda earlier on, saying, "Why have you not done this to Clara?" It's the idea being you can't do this to someone you love because it's not a nice thing.
No.
To do someone that you love, but it's different when it's someone you don't. You're doing it as a nice thing. Which was nice again to have that idea of the Doctor doing. What he wasn't doing was making someone immortal. He was saving someone, which is what he does.
By making them immortal.
Yeah, but he doesn't think about it in terms of that. Which is weird for him.
See, the amount of times he's done something like that, you'd think he would
He's done things like this a couple times.
at least have vague levels of
The
awareness.
Doctor is very much the man who doesn't think of the. He thinks of the long-term effects rather than the immediate ones. But this is one of those impulsive things that he did, and then he regrets it. As he said, "I've left you alone for too long." He regrets what he's done, and he's still having to deal with it. And it's something I suspect he will be carrying with him for a while. Whether or not we'll have her returning in like cameos or that kind of thing at some later point in the season, who knows? We have that, well, of course, with the end scene, being she's still around in the present day. We know she would.
Yeah, phone cameras aren't that high definition.
Depends on what kind of phone it is, I suppose.
They aren't that high definition, trust me. It's like when you see Skype phone calls in movies. Like, Skype's not that HD.
No. Then again, if it is Clara's phone, given the jiggery pokery that we know the Doctor's good at,
It allows you to phone people through time. I doubt it improves the camera quality.
never know.
It might, yeah, it might. Yeah,
We don't know. We have nothing to refute it.
Well, I knew she was going to be in the photograph the moment Clara showed him the phone. Yeah,
We all knew. We all knew. Oh, that's what Connor's going to be because it's some significance. But if she wasn't, you'd feel, oh, well, the hell was that for?
I would be surprised with something first time in years.
But yeah, my thoughts on it was I was disappointed, and I think you. What did you think?
Of the episode as a whole. Well, I went into it actually looking forward to it. You know, the idea of immortality anyway it does. Okay, I could get behind this, and just got bored. Like you said, a lot of talking. It's not really saying anything, repeating the same things, and it all wrapped up. Even by Doctor Who stands for quick with the resolution and the aliens, which are there for like a minute.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you hold that threat for a whole minute, and congratulations. I like the design of the cat guy. Did he even get a name?
He did have a name. He was something, but I can't really remember. He was
Yeah.
King something, if memory serves, because he had a crown, I
But the
noticed.
race. So.
They might have. I don't know. The trouble is they really glossed.
That's how forgettable they were.
No, it wasn't that. If it did got a name, they got mentioned once.
Yeah.
And it was glossed over incredibly quickly, which was my main issue for a lot of it.
But yeah, like I want to see return because fire-breathing cat people, I can get behind that.
I'd love to see that race return one day, but then again, it's likely.
I find them more interesting than the whatever they were called, the Maya from last
Maya.
week.
Yeah, it was the Maya
They're
last
a
week.
lot more interesting than them.
Interesting, because we didn't see much of them,
Yeah, which is
really.
weird, and I want to see more done with them.
We know nothing about
I
them.
just find the idea.
Maya are one of the most feared warrior races in the galaxy. All right, fair enough. And they're wearing massive tin cans.
I thought sometimes when I saw.
It's a weird mix of some time. Remind me a bit of the Jadoon as well in terms of
Yeah,
their helmet, that helmet, that weird block sort of look.
And then just nothing happened, and I've gone past disappointment now and just expecting it.
Next week's just going to be interesting.
Next week is District 9 with Zygons.
Well, it's not just that, because next week's is actually following on from the Day of the Doctor.
Yes, it will be with Osgood.
Which would be nice, which would actually be following. And, of course, we have the whole thing of Osgood's alive when we know she was killed by Missy, so how are they going to do that? Obviously, there'll be some way of getting around it. We don't know what, though, because people have been saying for ages.
It's Stephen Moffat.
No. People have been saying since Day of the Doctor, was that the real Osgood or the Zygons?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And now we'll get confirmation on which one it was. Where I can only assume, therefore, it was the Zygon one that was killed. But we don't know. We'll get that confirmed.
Well, was killed. It's been the Zygon one this entire time.
But at the same time, it's going to be a proper nice return to Zygons in terms of the idea of they're going to take over the planet and that kind of
doing
thing.
something.
Yeah, but will it be a repeat in a lot of ways of Terror of the Zygons, their very first and only ever appearance?
Who knows?
Which is very much the whole kind of are they going to take over and how. But again, it's a part of a two-parter.
Great. Enjoying.
With the next week's the Zygon invasion and it's the Zygon inversion.
Where they go.
But we've got a nice return of some fan favourites as well, though, with Osgood.
What, walking Doctor Who fanboy number?
Fangirl.
Insert Doctor Who fandom here. It's like someone self-insert fanfiction.
And Kate.
I like Kate.
Kate Stewart, who I've met, or seen, rather, in person.
Met or seen? There's two very different definitions of the word. Seen is like you saw in passing. Met requires you actually talk to them.
Alright, wasn't met. It was during the Fringe. She was up here during the Fringe, and whilst I was waiting for our show to go on, she was in the queue for another one. And I was very tempted to go up and speak to her, but going, no, she's with people. I can't do it.
That would just be awkward.
But the thing is, there's me going on my phone, going, I swear I know that person.
I'll just stand at a distance and be creepy and weird.
Still, there was a moment because I saw lots of famous people at the Fringe. It's one of those nice moments where you go, oh my god, I know you.
I know you.
But no, it's nice to see a return of them actually, because I quite enjoy seeing them. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the Zygons.
Which I tried this week, probably not much.
We'll see. I mean,
they have to. The main villain. They don't do anything.
This has been we've hit that it's not just this mid-season lull now. This is the moment where it's kind of tumbling a little bit.
Yeah, you start off strong. That's why I have trouble whenever you start off strong.
Well, it didn't start off.
It started off alright.
It started off good. It was a nice start.
Yeah, and like you can't either keep that going. At least it may not get better, but at least keep it going. Otherwise, you do kind of just start to.
Well, hopefully, this will be that kind of pickup moment around now, because we're due the pickup time because we're now into the second half.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, this is the second half of the series. We'll be going into next week. So with any luck, it will pick up a little again. Because then after this two-parter, it's the Mark Gatiss one.
Yes.
And it's Mark Gatiss doing found footage, which will probably be a horror as well, which we know he's good for.
Well.
He is generally, because he loves horror stuff.
footage films annoy the fuck out of me, period.
No, but the idea of it'll be a horror-style one again.
I'm looking forward to Mark Gatiss just having a two-parter.
Yeah, I am as well.
He always needs two-parter. He's always do have a habit of... You feel like, this could be good if you give him another episode to actually
and
work.
then we've got the season finale, which we know nothing about. And I'm not sure even how much of footage trailer, like when they did the season trailers ages ago, how much of that is actually going to appear. Oh, no, wait, hang on.
Oh god, he's off.
Is it Rigby or Digby? The one from Flatline. You remember the guy from Flatline who was in it, the
Try to
graffiti
remember a
artist?
name of a character I watched last series. It's probably not going to happen unless
Well,
they were.
Flatline was the episode that we agreed was one of the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. I don't remember the episode, but
Do you remember the graffiti artist who?
vaguely. A name I'm not going to get out of me, but I know who you're talking about.
He is going to be in one of the future episodes of this season.
Is he?
I don't think it's going to be next week's, any of the Zygon ones, and I don't know therefore if he'll be in the found footage ones or if he's going to be in the season
You did say
finale.
the found footage one was the Doctor Light.
I think it will be the Doctor Light, which would suggest therefore he'll be in the season finale,
Mm.
which will be interesting because it's also where we've seen that Peter's costume changes
Yeah.
because he's not wearing his usual black long coat with a hoodie in that. Because in that one he's gone for a more John Pertwee style. It's a kind of a dark burgundy velvet type one instead. Which might be the new costume he goes for the next season, actually, which would be quite nice. Because he's gone for the sort of the casual look at the moment for this season. But I don't know. He's back this season, but that's about all. But that's only a picture. We've not seen any footage of that, if memory serves. So the season finale will be interesting because we have no idea
Who the
where it's
villains are.
going. We don't know who the villains are. We don't know where it's going. We've got very little in terms of hints they're dropping other than something to do with a prophecy, but we don't have any hints as to what that is yet or how that be resolved. We know it's going to feature Clara's exit. How she exits, we still don't know yet. I've made the guess that she's going to die. You're hoping for that
I'm hoping she dies painfully and horribly.
as much as you can from Doctor
That's
Who.
just dislike for the character.
Yeah.
So why I probably should have enjoyed this episode more than I did because there was no Clara in it.
It was weird without Clara.
Yeah, I think actually this episode her personality might have added something
Yeah, actually, I think it would have because
if she was in it. I know that's weird for me saying I want Clara in an episode, but
well, this weird because Clara actually, despite the fact we've seen her go from this kind of this wannabe doctor and the idea of she's very good at being the doctor, she still has that human aspect, as we saw last week. The idea of you need to help these people, with the doctor saying, "Just leave them. They're one village." He's sad what's going to happen to them, but there's nothing he can do. Clara is still very much that anchor to humanity,
yeah.
which she wasn't this week because we didn't need it this week because the doctor was doing that for her. Which kind of worked in that way. But I think it would have been interesting to have Clara in this week and see if they could have changed things. For one thing, it wouldn't have been two people. All it was for a lot of it was a shielder and the doctor just repeating their points.
Yeah.
It's kind of the idea of unstoppable force meets an immovable object. They're not. They're both saying the same thing, and neither of them is accepting what the other one has to say. Which is probably where the idea, which is why it was so dull in that sense. There was nothing new being said because the shielder was just simply refusing to accept what the doctor was saying, and the doctor, being the doctor, was going, "You're just wrong.
Yeah.
Why can't you accept this?" Which is what it was. It was two stubborn personalities when they meet. Which can work, but they need to have different ways of attacking the argument then.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it just gets dull, which is what it was.
Very quickly. Dull.
Very quickly, unfortunately. They found new ways to say it, but unfortunately, at the end of it, their argument wasn't any different. It boiled down to it. But yeah, I think that's generally what we thought of this episode. Next week's looks interesting.
District
Again,
9.
but yeah, it's very interesting. But again, they've done very good with the trailers not giving much away.
District 9 with not quite so much apartheid.
Well, no, this one, the trailer for next week gave a bit more away in terms of you know roughly what to expect, but not enough to give away everything.
Yeah.
We know the premise, it's Zygons
Nine.
are living amongst humanity, and then you've got rogue Zygons.
Yeah.
Which is enough, really, for you to go, all right, this will be interesting.
Yes.
I know more or less what it's going to be. Let's see if it holds up to it. Whereas this week's was very much Highwayman, something to do with the jewel.
Yeah,
That's about
Highwayman
it.
not really needed, important. Jewel, yeah, just essentially a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Characters just kind of wandering.
Which was a shame.
Some of the, yeah.
We both had.
I think the best bit was Rufus Hound's stand up.
Yeah,
I mean, the jokes were atrocious, but
They were.
it was a bit of personality to something. Yeah. It's something different. That's what it was. So yeah, that's that.
That's that. Right. So that's what I got on this week's. It's disappointing. We've really hit that mid-season lull. We're hoping it improves. So join us next week for the Zygon invasion. Oh, I didn't do mum thoughts.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot. Oops.
It's all right.
That's awkward.
It's because she was here this week. There was no
It's
phone
even
call.
worse. I forgot then. She's actually here.
She won't be joining us at the moment. She's quite tired. So we'll go with tradition of with me just relaying it. Mum thought it was a bit light-hearted. She was disappointed as well.
Mm.
She found it a bit confusing. Just let her down
Specifically, did
generally.
you find
She
confusing?
was a bit tired when watching it as well.
Oh,
Though,
yeah,
so
it's
it's kind
not.
of thing of. But to be fair, this episode being dull and being tired whilst watching it doesn't
Yeah, it's
help.
not going to make you want to like it.
Um, but no, for the most part, I think Mum's consensus was she agrees with us on most of the points. Again, it was light-hearted for the most part. A bit disappointed. She found it a bit confusing at points, tiring, and didn't do much either.
Well, nothing happened.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
she thought it was okay, but she didn't. It wasn't anything special. I think she preferred last week's to this week's.
I think I did as well.
Yeah, I did as well.
I didn't enjoy last week's.
I preferred it a lot. I
Yeah.
thought last week's was all right. I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it. Didn't think it was brilliant, but I enjoyed it still. But this week's was just. They should have done the break. They should have put that two-parter in where we said and then come back to this one later.
Yeah.
Might have helped.
It probably would have.
It might have helped just to give that break because then we wouldn't have had the expectations necessarily of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they revealed too much about this one in terms of, oh, it's the return of a shielder.
Yeah.
If they hadn't revealed that, it would have been more interesting. But at the same time, it's very difficult to do that without avoiding the whole crux of this episode.
Mm.
But at the same time, I just think the episode was just dull, so no matter what, it was always going to be like this.
I can tell you what I was expecting, a whole romp through history.
I would have liked that.
Not just the little bits we got, but you go through from Vikings to the highway through history.
And then he carries on.
Yeah.
But I like what Blink kind of did in that way of you've got different pockets as you go through them. That would have been interesting. I would have liked to do that. But you've had a couple of episodes when they've done things like that, but I would have enjoyed that as well.
Mm.
But this one was just a bit
Bland.
Yeah.
Rather than
So anyway, join us for next week's The Zygon Invasion, where hopefully things will improve.